Imagine a place so haunted it earned the title, the most haunted house in England. For decades, Borley Rectory was at the center of chilling tales, ghostly nuns gliding through the garden, phantom bells ringing, and strange messages scrawled on the walls by unseen hands. But was this lonely rectory in the English countryside truly a portal to the other side? Or was it just a cleverly spun tale that captured the public imagination? We're going to explore both sides, the parallel truths, and let you decide. The story begins in 1863, when the imposing Borley Rectory was built in a quiet village in Essex. It was a grand house, but almost immediately, whispers of strange and unsettling activity began to circulate among the locals. The most famous of these tales was that of a ghostly nun seen wandering the grounds, her face etched with sorrow. According to local legend, she had once lived in a convent on the very land where the rectory now stood. The story goes that she fell in love with a monk from the nearby monastery. They planned to elope, a forbidden act that would seal their doom. But their escape was discovered. The monk was executed, and the nun was said to have been bricked up alive within the convent walls, forever doomed to roam the grounds in search of her lost love. This tragic tale set the stage for decades of paranormal claims. It was as if the very foundation of the rectory was built upon a tragedy that refused to be forgotten. As the years passed and different families moved into the rectory, the strange occurrences only seemed to intensify. Residents reported a chilling catalog of supernatural phenomena. They heard ghostly footsteps pacing down empty hallways in the dead of night, the rustle of silk dresses when no one was there, and unexplained knocking on doors and walls. Outside, some claimed to hear the ghostly rumble of a phantom horse-drawn carriage passing by on the lonely lane, its wheels crunching on gravel that wasn't there. The rectory's reputation grew with each new tenant who fled, claiming they simply couldn't endure the constant, unexplainable activity any longer. The house was gaining a dark and mysterious reputation, a place where the veil between our world and the next seemed terrifyingly thin. But it was in the 1920s and 30s that Borley Rectory would truly become infamous, cementing its place in the annals of paranormal history. This is when the Reverend Lionel Foyster and his young wife, Mary Ann, moved in. From the moment they arrived, the activity escalated from strange noises to outright physical phenomena. Objects would allegedly fly across rooms, hurled by an invisible force. Windows would spontaneously shatter without any logical explanation. The Foysters reported being locked out of rooms, their belongings disappearing and reappearing in strange places, and the constant ringing of servants' bells even after the wires had been cut. Most disturbing of all were the claims made by Mary Ann. She said she was repeatedly thrown from her bed by invisible hands, a terrifying and violent assault from an unseen entity. Even more unsettling were the messages that began appearing on the walls. Scrawled in a childlike script were pleas for help, messages addressed directly to Mary Ann. "Mary Ann, please help me get out," one read. Another simply said, "Light, Mass, Prayers." These writings seemed to suggest a trapped and desperate spirit was trying to communicate. This is the classic haunting version of the story, a terrifying account of a family under siege by malevolent spirits. Now let's look at the other side of the coin, the Skeptics version. While the stories are chilling, many researchers suggest there's a different, more human truth at play. Some believe that Mary Ann Foyster herself may have fabricated many of the events, possibly as a cry for attention. Her marriage to the much older Reverend Foyster was reportedly troubled, and some theories propose she created the haunting to escape her unhappy life, or perhaps to cover up an affair she was having. Could the messages on the wall have been written by her own hand? Others argue that many of the so-called hauntings were simply natural occurrences, misinterpretations, or wild exaggerations that were fueled by rumor and a public eager for a good ghost story. The rectory was an old, drafty house, prone to strange creaks and groans. Could the ghostly footsteps have just been the sound of old floorboards settling? The village's appetite for spooky tales and the media's hunger for sensational headlines certainly helped turn Borley Rectory from a local curiosity into a national phenomenon. This theory suggests the real ghost wasn't a spirit, but the power of suggestion itself. The case exploded onto the international stage when famed paranormal investigator Harry Price took an interest in the rectory. After conducting a series of investigations, Price sensationally declared it the most haunted house he had ever encountered, a claim that made headlines around the world. He documented poltergeist activity, seances, and spirit communications, publishing books that became bestsellers. Thanks to Price, Borley Rectory was officially the most haunted house in England. However, Price's methods and conclusions have since come under intense scrutiny. Later critics accused him of being more of a showman than a scientist. They claimed he staged evidence, exaggerated findings, and manipulated witnesses to create a more compelling narrative that would sell books and pack lecture halls. Did Harry Price discover a genuine haunting, or did he simply market one to perfection, turning a collection of local legends and dubious claims into a profitable enterprise? His involvement adds another layer of complexity to the mystery. The story of Borley Rectory took a dramatic turn in 1939. A fire, started by an overturned oil lamp, swept through the building, gutting the infamous house and reducing it to a smoldering shell. As the rectory burned, some villagers reported seeing ghostly figures in the flames, including the legendary nun, seemingly watching the destruction of her earthly prison. But again, skeptics have a rational explanation. They point out how fire, smoke, and flickering light can easily play tricks on the eyes, creating fleeting shapes and figures that the mind, already primed for a ghost story, interprets as supernatural. The fire destroyed the house, but it couldn't destroy the legend. So, we are left with two parallel truths, two stories that run side by side. On one hand, you have the haunting version. Borley Rectory was a genuine gateway between worlds, a place tormented by restless spirits like the tragic nun and other troubled souls, whose suffering was so great it echoed through time. And on the other hand, you have the hoax theory, a legend inflated by human imagination, loneliness, alleged fraud, and a powerful hunger for fame and fortune. A story built not by ghosts, but by people. The rectory is long gone today. After the fire, its ruins were demolished, and now nothing remains but an empty patch of land. But its legend endures, as haunting as ever. So what do you think? Was Borley Rectory truly the most haunted house in England, a place where the dead walked among the living? Or was it simply the most haunted story ever told? Let me know which truth you believe in the comments below. Thanks for watching. If you enjoy exploring mysteries like this, don't forget to like this video and subscribe to the channel for more deep dives into parallel truths. We'll see you next time.